The NBA playoffs begin in earnest this weekend, which makes it a perfect time to bring in our great friend from NBA Today, Mr. Kendrick Perkins. We're going to start with the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins has been cleared to play for the Warriors. What does his return do for them? Because they play third-seeded Sacramento. I think that begins tomorrow night.
Well, obviously we look at Andrew Wiggins and what he done last year. I mean, he was the second best player on the team outside of Steph Curry, but he's been away from the game this season for a long time. And I keep telling people that the only way you get into basketball shape and get your legs up under you is by playing the game of basketball. And he's walking into it at his highest level. I don't expect him to do much. I actually think Steve Kerr is going to ease him in. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on minute restriction. I wouldn't be too pressed and thinking that he's going to come out there and be the Andrew Wiggins that we saw last postseason because he hasn't got the reps up under him yet.
Well, we're going to stay in the West for this next topic, Perk. The Lakers the other night put a whole lot of doubt in my mind not being able to crush the T-Wolves, who was so shorthanded and had everything working against them. But I was shocked that night to turn the TV on and my man Perk is saying, wait a minute, don't get carried away. You were not shaking like I was. Why not?
Not you too, Wilbon. You know better. You know better. That's what we used to tell our kids when they were, you know better. See, everyone get caught up in, the offensive end, and the Lakers didn't make shots and they didn't look great offensively. Defense win championships. And when I look at what the Lakers did in the second half of that game, when I look at how they held the Kings to 12 points in the fourth quarter, 16 points in the fourth and overtime, that was championship level defense. I saw active hands. I saw Darvin Ham make adjustments by putting AD on Kyle Anderson and putting Rui Hachimura on Karl Anthony Towns. I saw LeBron James diving on the floor for 50-50 balls, and everything was contested. I saw championship caliber defense. And the great thing that happened for the Lakers was that they were in a championship caliber game where the Minnesota actually threw the kitchen sink at them, so the others are now prepared to know what to expect going into this Memphis series.
All right, Perk, it sounds like me standing at your locker 15 years ago and you telling me to stop paying attention to offense back then. Some things never change. We're going to stay in the West. We're going to stay in the West. Tony has, from day one of the Kevin Durant trade, pronounced that the Suns are the best team, period. They got this great-looking series with the Clippers coming up, and you have detailed, starting with Russell Westbrook, why you like the Clippers in that series. Let's hear a little bit more about that.
Well, Wilbon, I kind of felt Tony energy at the start of this segment. It didn't feel that same joy, our brotherhood. And it's probably because I'm about to say this. Okay, when I look at the Phoenix Suns, yes, you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and CP3. But who are the others? Okay, yeah, DeAndre Ayton. But when I look down their bench, they're not deep. And you need the others. Strength are in numbers. But when I look on the other side at the Clippers, although they missing PG, I'm looking at Kawhi, and he has quietly been a top 5 player the second part of the season and towards the end of the season. Russell Westbrook looked like a completely different player under Ty Lue. And when I look at guys like Nicholas Batum and Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Bone Holland, Plumlee, and Big Zubac, those guys are good additions and are way better role players than what the Phoenix Suns have on their bench. And that's why I'm picking the Clippers along with the coaching of Tyronn Lue to win this series against the Phoenix Suns.
There you go,
If that
Tony.
happens, I tip my hat to you. I do, because I do believe that Kevin Durant, just by his presence, makes them a great team. So I tip my hat to you. We get you out of here, and this will finally go to the East. Trae Young says he has confidence in his team, a 7 seed, Atlanta 7 seed against the 2-seeded Celtics. Do you share that confidence that Trae Young has?
I don't. And I feel sorry for his loss because it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. by the Celtics, okay? And Trae Young's supposed to say that. I applaud him for having the confidence and going public with it to try to get his team riled up. But they don't have enough to compete with the Celtics. They just don't have enough to compete with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't see the depth that they could have to match Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon coming in off the bench along with Grant Williams. So when I look at the Atlanta Hawks, they still have a lot of work to do, and it's been too much chatter around that organization for them to automatically turn the switch on to go compete against a team like the Boston Celtics, who are on a mission to go win a NBA championship.
We completely agree on that one. Thank you, Perk, as always.
Perk, thank you, sir. See you soon.
I appreciate y'all, legends.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, are the Rays in good position to win a record 14th straight tonight?
And the NBA puts a big fine, maybe not so big, on the Dallas Mavericks for tanking. Tony, the Celtics.
3 NBA playoffs, and you guys just saw this. This is where amazing happens, and we're here to get you set on NBA Today, presented by American Express. You know it's a big show.
Yes, sir.
When the man, the myth, the legend is in the building. Stephen A. Smith, Chiney Ogwumike, Kendrick Perkins is going to be joining us in just a little bit. And there are so many questions heading into these playoffs that I think we need to look at, we need to address, we need to answer before the clock that's behind me hits zero. So let's start in the West here, guys, because it feels, at least to me, like this is as wide open as the West has been in years. For you, though, Stephen A., what is the number one question in the West?
Well, actually, I have two. Our first question is, why isn't Kendrick Perkins out west? That's the first question. I mean, he should have been here. Why am I here? He's not here. But we'll discuss that another day. The other question would be this. Is this the end for the Golden State Warriors? I think it's a legitimate question. I refute it. It is not the end. The Warriors are still a team to be reckoned with. They will be a team to be reckoned with for the future. But a lot of people out there got a lot of questions about them. They haven't been able to win on the road this year. Had just about 11 road victories. We know how awful they were away from San Francisco. And obviously, they're not going to have home court advantage in any of these series. What are they going to do? That's the question. I believe I know the answer because I believe in these boys. But that is a question.
Stephen A., you know you always pick the Warriors. You did it last year, and you looked like a savant, a genius, a basketball aficionado, which you are. But now you have a question for them, even though you probably are still picking them. Let me just say, I want to start things very nicely because I know you always say that we treat.
I'm in the middle. Well, I got to be in the middle between y'all. Y'all sandwiching me. You're plotting against me.
No, we're not. We're friends here. And your feelings are fluid. So I'll get to my answer. In the West, the big question, as it's very fluid in the West, is really the Phoenix Suns. Can they get it done? When you acquire someone to the talents of Kevin Durant, who did not just have a 50, 40, 90 season, he had a 55, 40, 90 season, made history in 47 or so games. The expectation is automatically championship no matter where you go. So my question is, can these guys, after acquiring Kevin Durant, which we love Devin Booker, Chris Paul had some better games as the season sort of winded down. DeAndre Ayton is another question within the question. Can he show up and hold things down with that youthful exuberance and spirit in the post? Can this iteration of the Phoenix Suns that really gambled and put all of their chips in the middle of the table to get Kevin Durant really make this a championship year? I know the pressure feels like it should be this year. It could be later, but I think all eyes are going to be on them because they know the implications of such a decision.
Well, particularly this first-round series against the Clippers. When the Clippers are shorthanded here, it feels like, okay, maybe we want to see this. This could be something. You don't ever want to bet against Kawhi Leonard, but then when you look at the firepower on the other team, it feels like that's a foregone conclusion. For you, Perk, what's the biggest question out west?
Well, first of all, Stephen A., my brother, I love you to death, but don't you get too comfortable in my damn seat, okay? Don't get too comfortable in my damn seat. I love you. I know you love L.A. Don't get too cozy in there, all right? That's the first thing. Okay. But I hear us talking about, I hear the world talking about, hey, is this the end of the last run for the Golden State Warriors? Shanae just talked about, when it comes down to the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant, him and Devin Booker and CP3, can they get it done? And we talk about, does LeBron have enough left in the tank to overcome this young Memphis team? And can Sacramento beat the Warriors and knowing that they're young but have home court advantage? Well, the team that has the best record in the Western Conference is the Denver Nuggets.
Yes, it is.
And why why the Denver Nuggets don't have us talking about them and they're the #1 seed? Is it because their coach has called them out plenty of times on being soft? Because they have all the pieces. They have a 2-time MVP in Jokic. They have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., who are all-star caliber players. You have Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, and Aaron Gordon, guys that fit perfect around their system, and a good coach in Michael Malone. So the question is that what are the Denver Nuggets doing that we're not talking about them